Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in for another deep dive. We're going to be looking into a case that really shook the city of Boston, the murder of 13-year-old Tyler Lawrence.
And it's a case that raises a lot of difficult questions, especially when you consider the history of the man accused.
Right, we're talking about Csean Skerritt. And like you said, his history is a big part of what makes this case so disturbing.
Absolutely. This wasn't just a one-time thing. We're talking about a pattern of behavior that goes all the way back to his youth.
Even before Tyler Lawrence was born, Skerritt was already racking up charges.
Exactly. And it's the nature of those charges that's so troubling. I mean, we're talking about juvenile offenses, bringing a knife to school, carjacking, even at a young age.
There were already signs that something was seriously wrong.
Yes, and these weren't isolated incidents. The pattern kept escalating.
And then, in 2005, we have this terrifying incident at a Walgreens in Somerville. Skerritt's caught shoplifting, and when an employee confronts him,
That's when things take a really dark turn. He stabs the employee, Mattapan, right in the chest.
it's hard to imagine the level of violence it takes to do something like that.
And what makes it even more disturbing is that after stabbing Mattapan, Skerritt just starts laughing.
Okay, that's chilling. You have to start to wonder, at what point does this go from being a troubled kid to, like, a genuine threat to society?
And the thing is, this was just the beginning. Over the years, the charges against Skerritt just kept getting more and more serious.
Hmm.
Assault on a corrections officer, multiple gun charges.
He was even charged with another murder in 2014, the death of Julian Printemps.
Right, although he was acquitted in that case.
Acquitted or not, it paints a pretty unsettling picture. You have to wonder, were there missed opportunities along the way? Could any of this have been prevented? Yeah, it's like, how do you even begin to unpack a life like that?
Well, one way is to go straight to the source, which is why those letters Skerritt wrote from prison are so fascinating.
Oh, absolutely. It's like getting a glimpse inside his head.
Exactly. And what you see there is, well, it's complicated.
Right, because on the one hand, you have these boasts about being a gangster, which, I mean,
It's almost cliche, isn't it?
totally. But then, like you said, it's complicated.
Yeah.
Because you also see these glimpses of self-awareness.
There's a lot of talk about wanting to be accepted, to fit in. You sense this longing for a different life, a way out.
But he never seems to find it.
No, he doesn't. And that takes us to the heart of the question, doesn't it? Did the system fail Csean Skerritt? And more importantly, did it fail Tyler Lawrence?
Big question. So where do we even begin to look for answers?
Let's go back to 2006, right after that Walgreens stabbing. Skerritt's own probation officer wrote that he posed a danger to the community.
Wow, that's a pretty clear warning.
It is, and yet Skerritt was released.
And then we have those drug charges in 2021 that were dropped because of a technicality. Can you explain that? Because honestly, it makes my head spin a little.
Sure. Basically, it came down to an issue with Skerritt's car registration. It was from out of state, and there were some questions about whether the police had the authority to search his vehicle.
So because of a paperwork issue, a guy with Skerritt's history walks free.
That's essentially what happened. And it gets even crazier because at the time of Tyler's murder, Skerritt was already under investigation by the FBI for, you guessed it, more drug charges.
It's like he was constantly on the radar of law enforcement, but nothing ever really stuck. It's just, I don't know, it's hard to wrap your head around, that someone could be involved in all of that and still end up, well,
Free to potentially harm others.
exactly. Which brings us back to that question we keep coming back to. Could Tyler Lawrence's death have been prevented?
It's the question that hangs over this entire case. And it's made even more difficult by the fact that, well, we still don't even know why Tyler was killed.
Right, the motive is still a complete mystery.
Which, for a lot of people, makes the whole thing even harder to process. Because it's not just that a young life was cut short, but that it seems to have been cut short for no reason at all.
And it forces us to confront this larger issue, too, which is the issue of youth violence in the city.
Absolutely. I mean, this is something that Boston has struggled with for a long time.
And unfortunately, there are no easy answers.
No, there aren't. So where do things stand with the case now?
Well, Skerritt pled not guilty, right?
He did, yeah. To
Yeah.
the murder charge and the weapons charges.
And the trial, that's supposed to start later this year, right?
It was supposed to start in November,
No.
but there's been a bit of a delay.
Okay. What happened?
Well, it seems Skerritt wants to change lawyers.
Oh, really? So what does that mean? Is the trial going to be pushed back even further?
It's definitely a possibility, yeah. Especially since this isn't the first time he's tried to switch lawyers. Back in April, he actually tried to get a new court-appointed lawyer, which the judge denied. We'll have to wait and see what happens with this new attempt. But in the meantime, Tyler Lawrence's family, and really the entire city, is left waiting for answers, for justice. And it's a reminder that justice isn't just about what happens in the courtroom. It's about creating a society where tragedies like this are less likely to happen in the first place. A society where young people feel safe, where there are resources available to help those who are struggling, and where the justice system is truly set up to protect the innocent. And that's something we should all be thinking about, not just in the context of this case, but in our lives every day.
I think that's a really important point to end on. We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, but there's always more to explore. So to everyone listening, I encourage you to keep digging, keep asking those tough questions, read the articles, look at the court documents, and most importantly, keep talking about these issues. Because true crime isn't just about entertainment, it's about understanding the world around us and hopefully making it a little bit better.